So this is the view we woke up to this morning, next to Loch Arklet, looking down the loch towards the snowy mountains. Today we're going to be in the Trossachs, starting off from the village of Aberfoyle. Before I show you a little bit around the village of Aberfoyle, here's a quick preview of some of the fantastic places we went to on this trip. Keep watching to see them in more detail. Starting off in Aberfoyle, the gateway to the Trossachs, less than 30 miles north of Glasgow, but the difference is fantastic. There's a car park in the middle of the village, which at this time of year in February is reasonably empty, even on a nice Sunday afternoon, but in the summer it's going to be a lot busier. That's our van parked in the car park at the bottom of the screen. The village has got a petrol station and a co-op, so you can get your fuel and your provisions. There's also pubs and restaurants where you can get something to eat and drink, and a chip shop, and you can also hire bikes in the village as well. That's the River Forth flowing past the village, only a couple of miles from its source at Loch Ard to the west. There are some nice footpaths along the side of the river where you can walk the dogs, and there are waste bins provided. Oh, that's a nice car.
What, the blue?
You can get some footage of that.
Of a car?
Yeah.
How boring do you want your videos to be? It's a car. It's a nice colour, but it's a car.
So me and Eileen have got a different idea about what's interesting. I think the car's interesting. What do you think?
Oh, well, well. Uh-huh. Oh, well, well.
Let me know in the comments. See if you can spot the point where I realised that I forgot to go to the toilet. But that does give me the chance to let you know that there are public toilets in this car park, which is handy if your van doesn't have one, or if, like us, with 4 of us travelling, you're trying to make the most of the capacity of your chemical toilet. Heading back to the van now to continue our journey towards Stronachlachar and Inversnaid. Not sure if I've said that right, so if anybody knows the correct pronunciation, you can let me know. Signpost on the left for Loch Ard Forest car park. I didn't go down there this time, but I will come back another time and go down there and see how it looks with the motorhome. But I've put the location on the map for you just in case you're interested. Okay, so we're just passing the sign saying camping management zone. This is a zone in the Loch Lomond and Trossachs National Park where between March and September there are restrictions on where you can camp or park your motorhome. You need to go onto their website to book and get a permit, and I'll put the link in the description below. This is a nice spacious lay-by on the right hand side of the road. There's a smaller one before it on the left. There's already a motorhome parked in there, as you can see. A lovely view across the loch, a nice place to spend some time. Amber, Buster and Danny all interested in me flying the drone. Before we move on, I just wanted to mention that I'm a part-time photographer. As we were driving along and I was talking about the camping management zone, I don't know if you noticed, but we passed some boathouses. Just wanted to put up one of the photos that I took from that location a couple of years ago, and I just wanted to put in a shameless plug for my landscape photography website. It's www.andyhallphoto.com, where you can see a lot more photos. Please have a look and tell me what you think. As we carry on the journey, I'll show you some of the other photos that I've taken over the years around this area. Another spacious lay-by just a bit further along the road towards Loch Ard. What a fantastic view, but unfortunately this one is signposted for no overnight parking. There were no restrictions on the last one. Only about 100 yards further up the road is another nice pull in here with a bench. I stopped here late last year and took a photo that I'm really pleased with. As you can see, I nearly missed this one. It's not marked on Google Maps, but as you can see I've dropped a pin so that you can see where it is. It's just a forestry track. I don't know if it's still in use, whether you'll be moved on if you try and stay up here, but there's certainly plenty of space. So you just hate it when you get the sound of the bottom of the van hitting something quite solid. I thought I'd better jump out and have a look, make sure that there was no damage and nothing leaking. Everything was fine, luckily. Nice spot here next to Loch Chon. Possibly a passing place, but wider than your average passing place, so you can pull right over and get well off the road. This is Loch Chon, one of my favourite spots. Unfortunately, in the camping management zone, there's no camping at all allowed here between March and September, but you're okay outside of them times. I've stopped here quite a few times and I've taken what I think are some of my best photos here. I'll put them up now for you to have a look. The trees certainly look a lot different now from what they did in the autumn. This really is a spectacular place when the autumn colours are in full force. Did you spot the little boathouse at the left hand side of the loch in that last clip? Well, this is a picture that I took of that boathouse, standing on the shore from about the same spot where Eileen is with the dogs in the next clip.
So you can only park here overnight from October to February. But even if you can't park here during the summer months, overnight anyhow, you could at least park up during the day, and if you've got a canoe, take it out, enjoy this stunning scenery.
I had to put this one in because I think it's hilarious when we catch Danny doing his dances in completely random places. Go Danny.
All together.
Just passing the entrance to Loch Chon campsite on the left, but it's a campsite for tents only. Just coming up to a passing place that I pulled into last year just to take a quick picture across the loch at the farmhouse at the other side. I'm not advocating stopping in passing places, other than to let cars pass obviously. I was just a couple of minutes and right by the car, so I could easily move if needed. Another pull in on the left here, a forestry track. I didn't stop, but I've dropped a pin on the map so that you can see where it is. Just a nice little pull in here, at the side of the road, at the start of a forestry track. It's got a nice little cutout there where you can park. Not bothering anybody. Another couple of places just by the gates there where you could fit the van in. Pay attention to that spot on the right, we're going to be coming back there later on after we've been to Stronachlachar. We've arrived at Stronachlachar Pier now. It's deserted apart from us. The tea room's all closed up, but when it is open you can get lovely cakes and coffees and things in there. There's a fantastic view from the conservatory across the loch. It's a lovely place to spend a bit of time. Abstract photography is not something I do very often, but every now and then I see something that catches my eye. I was here with my friend Joe a couple of months ago and I saw something that caught my eye and took the photo. Let me know what you think. I know abstract photography is not everybody's cup of tea. Love it or hate it, tell me in the comments. This is Loch Katrine. At the far end you can see the small mountain of Ben Arn, which is a nice walk even for somebody as unfit as me. It's not too strenuous. And from that end of the loch in the summer months the steamship Sir Walter Scott sails, and Stronachlachar Pier is one of the stops that you can make on the journey. So Walter Scott was an author, and one of his novels, The Lady of the Lake, I think was set in the Trossachs area around Loch Katrine. Remember the space I said about paying attention to as we went past? Well, that's where we're coming back to spend the night, at the edge of Loch Arklet. So I've just walked up the hill about 100 yards from where the van's parked, next to Loch Arklet. Just after sunset now. Last bit of light fading in the sky over the loch. Looking down towards Ben Lomond, but it's shrouded in cloud at the moment, so you can't see anything further past the loch that way, with 360-degree views all the way around. Lovely spot. How about that? I think I should introduce the rest of the gang. You've already seen Danny dancing. This is John, and Eileen's preparing the dinner. After everybody else had settled down for the night, I couldn't resist going outside to see whether it was worth taking any photos. These are the results. So I've got up for sunrise next to Loch Arklet. Sun's just starting to come up over the horizon now, with a bit of alpenglow on the snow on the top of the mountains. It's beautiful. So this is the view we woke up to this morning, next to Loch Arklet, looking down the loch towards the snowy mountains. How fantastic is that? I'm standing on a footpath at the moment, so I'm just going to go for a walk down below the van. Hopefully it leads down to the edge of the loch. I'm going to go and see what I can find down there. I'm standing on what appears to be some kind of outflow from the loch. The water's gushing down behind me. Disappearing down that channel. And I'm standing looking out across the loch. It's absolutely still. Perfect reflection. You just can't get better than that. Time to go back up to the van. Sign on the left for Rob Roy's View. There's a car park up there. But as you'll see, as we come to the turn off in a minute, there's a 3-ton weight limit on the bridge, and it's very narrow. I'm not sure that even if my van was less than 3 tons, whether it would fit there with the width. At Inversnaid now, on the bank of Loch Lomond, looking across the loch. The West Highland Way runs through here, heading north up that way. Got the Inversnaid Hotel just behind me. Unfortunately, you can't stay overnight here. Use of this car park for camping or sleeping purposes is prohibited. So just behind the hotel over there, there's a waterfall. We're going to have a look at that. It's Monday morning in February. I doubt the car park's this quiet in the middle of the summer. That's this part of our journey finished from Aberfoyle to Stronachlachar and Inversnaid. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, remember to like and subscribe, leave me a comment and join me next time to continue the journey.